everybody, and welcome to the Eagle Eye. It is 2019, and we are starting off this show. I'm your host, Savannah Huemler. Alongside me, Kennedy Miller and Michael Rockman. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Doing pretty well.
Good. Awesome. Well, we have a few things to cover today. Eagle Eye Sports is our first show of the new year. How are you guys feeling about it?
I'm excited. I'm ready to get it going.
I'm ready to debate Kennedy, ready to debate you. I'm ready to prove that my opinion is superior.
Ooh, okay. I see we got some heat already going. Let's first start off. The Super Bowl is on Sunday, and we got the Patriots and the Los Angeles Rams. Kind of crazy. This is going to be very interesting. What do you guys think?
Well, as much as you want to debate me in this, I'm going to have to actually agree with you. I know you're a big Patriots fan, and I don't see how you bet against the Patriots in this upcoming Super Bowl. This is their 9th Super Bowl appearance. Tom Brady, Bill Belichick. The Rams only have 3 guys who've been there before. I just don't think – I think they're a little bit too young. I don't think they have the defense geared enough to stop a Tom Brady and Bill Belichick team. I don't see how this Patriots team doesn't win.
Well, as much as I would like to just be very confident in the Patriots, there is reason to be concerned. I'm definitely taking the Patriots. The defense has picked it up a crazy amount in the playoffs, and we've seen a new team sort of come out in this stage of the game. But the Rams, what they're doing with their organization, they've invested in this moment. The reason that they went and were willing to trade a first for Brandon Cooks, willing to spend big money on Ndamukong Suh, willing to give the big extension to Aaron Donald, it's because of this moment. They wanted to create a super team in the NFL, and that's pretty much what they've done. You can't really look at the roster and tell me that they have a weakness on the roster. You look at guys like Littleton and Ebukam, they've really picked it up as well. So it's been a great job of scouting, getting value in the mid-rounds, while also providing superstars at each position. And while I want to say, yes, this is Brady, this is the Patriots, they do this every year and they're going to win again, but this Rams team is really here for this moment, and that's what they prepared for. Every team's preparing for the Super Bowl, but this team invested fully, whether it was giving up draft capital for proven superstars on one-year deals. I mean, they wanted to be here now while they have the opportunity, and they've gotten here, so this is their opportunity.
Well, I agree with that, but when you look at the Patriots, I've rooted against them almost every year, and it just seems that they prove me wrong. I can give you reason after reason. I thought for sure that the Los Angeles Chargers had, a top 3, top 5 roster in football. I said there's no way Tom Brady with a banged up Gronkowski, he looks old, no real receiving core besides Julian Edelman. I said there's no way that they'll beat that Charger team. They came out and throttled them. The offensive line for the Patriots has turned it around. Tom Brady hasn't been sacked once this entire playoffs. They played the Chiefs. They led the league in sacks. And so when you look at it, if you just go down and look at the quarterback-coach combination in the NFL, which is what I really, when teams are about equally matched, I look at the quarterback and the coach and I say, well, which QB coach combination do I trust more? And there's nothing better than Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. You know that given 2 weeks to prepare, they're going to have a game plan. And this Rams team that you talked about, they have a lot of great names that you mentioned. But for parts of the season, that production wasn't there from the names. And Ndamukong Suh has played well in the playoffs, but for most of the regular season until that Cowboys game, he didn't really do much. Marcus Peters dealt with some injuries. Aqib Talib dealt with some injuries as well. Signing C.J. Anderson was a big move, but this Patriots team is too experienced. They've been here before.
It's been hard for me to watch this year exactly how the Patriots have, consistently ran their team. And it's been a little hard for me to watch the Rams too. But when you do consider the coach and quarterback combination, like you said, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, there's no duo like them. The thing is, my prediction, I really do not want to see the Patriots come out on top this time.
So you're going with the Rams?
I'm going to go with the Rams.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going with the underdog. Don't get me wrong here. I do think the Patriots, they'll pull it off. At the end of the day, it's the Patriots, but I am kind of rooting for this Rams team. I just think it would be interesting to see Sean McVay and Jared Goff kind of go up against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and see what they can kind of pull off. I think that the Rams offense is they've been very, very consistent so far this year. I mean, when you have C.J. Anderson kind of on the loose there, he's going to run the ball. Not to mention Todd Gurley. When he's out on the field, too, I think when you have two huge running backs like that, they're going to be tough against that Patriots defense. So I think that's one thing to consider here.
I think one big thing is that Jared Goff hasn't necessarily been on his top game as of late in the season. Production-wise, he's gone down. Turnover-wise, he's gone up. And really the big thing, though, that I want to touch on is both teams have excelled in the fact of execution and adjustments and making the effort to really fit their scheme around the guys they have. And a lot of coaches, it seems like a very obvious formula is, you do what you can with what you have instead of trying to force your own scheme, force your own ideas. And coaches just do not get this concept. The Patriots have excelled on it. It's why they've been a dynasty for nearly 15 years, probably more. And it's why the Rams are excelling now. They've found ways to execute with what's on the roster, and they aren't just forcing guys to be something they aren't. I mean, Steve Wilkes just got fired in Arizona because this was a 3-4 defense that he was trying to make a 4-3, and the way they played, it was just terrible, and there was no adjustment to it. It's why Todd Bowles, whenever he got to New York, there was a huge adjustment period. They're going back to a 4-3 now with Greg Williams. Coaches are consistently getting panned out because they refuse to change for their players, and the players are what is going to make the execution on the field happen. So you have to adjust for what you have. You can't force what you want.
And what Bill Belichick does to beat you is he takes away what you like to do.
True.
What you have adjusted to. You look at the Kansas City game, Patrick Mahomes loves to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill. They said, you will not beat us with Tyreek Hill. You're going to have to beat us some other way. Plaxico Burress came on TV about a week or so ago, played with the New York Giants, said that what the Patriots do is basically make you play left-handed. They take away what you like to do most. They're going to keyed in on Keenan Allen in that Chargers game. You're going to have to beat us some other way. Now, to your point, that could help with the Rams because losing their receiver earlier in the year, they haven't really had to rely on one guy. Jared Goff has kind of spread it around, and then having C.J. Anderson and Todd Gurley. So it's not really somebody they can key in on, maybe Brandon Cooks, but the Rams could have an advantage there.
Okay, let's just go ahead and say our picks for this Super Bowl win. I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams.
Sadly, I'm going with the New England Patriots.
Of course, I'm going with the New England Patriots.
All right, thanks, you guys. When we come back, we are going to discuss the situation regarding Antonio Brown. Lots of controversy here with Antonio Brown. Now, you guys, we've seen kind of a lot happen in the past few weeks with him. It's been kind of unclear what is going on with the Steelers, and it's been kind of unclear on behalf of Antonio Brown, where he directly wants to go. What are you guys thinking right now? Where he'll end up, what's kind of happening regarding the Steelers, and where's Antonio's head at?
Well, when it comes to Antonio Brown, obviously you can say that there's some drama surrounding him. The issue with Ben Roethlisberger in practice and now no longer talking to the Steelers organization. I mean, there's going to be character concerns and locker room concerns for whatever team he goes to. But the thing is, this is a guy who is unquestionably top 5 in the NFL at wide receiver and maybe even number 1. So you got to be able to adjust for that and be able to accept that, there's risk with this huge reward that could happen. And if I'm 31 other teams in the NFL, I'm calling about Antonio Brown, seeing what the price is. The Steelers said right now that they aren't getting the asking price that they expected for Antonio Brown, which could be seen. I mean, he's made it very clear he's not going to play for the Steelers, so the trade value really goes down right away. So the question is, where do we think he's going to show up? I mean, there's talks of San Francisco, there's talks of Indianapolis, places that have, big spending money and also an open spot at the receiver position. In my opinion, I think the Jets need to try to hop on this. The Jets have very good weapons, whether it's Robbie Anderson, Jermaine Kearse, Quincy Enunwa, and they also have some pretty solid running backs, but they really need that guy. And that's what Antonio Brown can be for a young budding team that has Sam Darnold at quarterback and has Adam Gase coming in at head coach. They need to have an offense that can really produce in this AFC East, in this AFC. And if they want to take that next step, I think Antonio Brown could go a long way for them.
So Antonio Brown, rumored has it that he posted an Instagram picture that was photoshopped with him with a 49ers jersey on and Brown on the last name. I mean, do you think that he's kind of leaning more towards the 49ers, or is it going to be more East Coast? What are we thinking?
I would hope not. I think Antonio Brown, the Pittsburgh Steelers, are a match made in heaven. If you look at, you said it, he's a top 5 receiver, might be number 1. You give a top 5 receiver a Hall of Fame quarterback, championship culture, Super Bowl winning coach, another, you could say, all-pro receiver next to him. Why would you not want to stay there? Like, I don't understand why you would want to go anywhere else. Sure, the 49ers, it sounds good. It sounds good. Kyle Shanahan is an offensive genius. They've got Jimmy Garoppolo coming back off of injury.
True.
He needs a star receiver. They didn't have really any big receiver step up. George Kittle, their tight end, had the most receiving yards on the team. But I think Antonio Brown needs to stay in Pittsburgh. Trading him right now, they would give up $21 million. They'd have a $21 million cap hold on their contract, on their books. So I don't see why either side wouldn't make that move.
Well, looking at it from the Steelers' perspective, there has been a lot of issues with discipline inside the organization.
Yes.
There's been a lot of character egos, with Le'Veon Bell and now Antonio Brown. You could kind of make the argument that maybe they move on from Antonio Brown and try to enter a new era where they're not kind of dealing with these I'm not saying Antonio Brown's a diva, but some of these diva personalities that happen where these moments happen, you just kind of give them that leeway where you're allowing them to control what happens inside the organization. Whereas if you let Le'Veon walk, which is most likely going to happen, I think it's about 100%, and then Antonio Brown, if you trade him away, you can enter a new attitude in the organization, clear out this negative attitude that's been surrounding it, that's kind of been believed to be the reason that you guys can't overcome the Patriots and now are falling out of playoffs. And you can remake this roster with guys that are really bought into the situation and organization. As you know, I mean, this team is very talented. I think easily with the roster talent that they have, they're top 5. But with the discipline, lack of discipline, and just the self-centered attitudes that happen that are on this roster, it just holds them back.
I don't think getting rid of Antonio starts a new culture, because if you look at their star quarterback, he's shown signs of undisciplinedness as well. Like,
sure.
Big Ben has thrown terrible interceptions. There were games against the Broncos that, they should have won. They're probably the best team to not make the playoffs. Probably the best team ever to not make the playoffs this past year.
I do agree with that, yes.
And that doesn't just stem from Antonio Brown. Like, Mike Tomlin, as much as I just said he's a Super Bowl winning coach, has been known to let his players be themselves. A lot of people have compared it to, they have more of an NBA locker room than an NFL locker room, whereas players are individuals, they have their own brands, as NFL is more of a team environment. Antonio Brown was on Facebook Live. After a playoff game, and Mike Tomlin's talking about, how they're going to beat the Patriots. I don't think just getting rid of him does that, and I don't see why he should leave.
And I think it's important to note that the issue that this report is centered around is about, a practice rep that happened and it went poorly and Big Ben wanted him to rerun the route and he didn't want to. It's not just this route. It's not one bad throw caused this whole thing to happen. This has been building up. I think that's important to take note of. It's not just one small situation. Whether Antonio Brown's been vocal about it, we don't know, but it's definitely been building up for Antonio Brown. Maybe there's been tension inside the locker room. Maybe it's just been something that Antonio Brown's kept to himself, and this one very small straw was the final one. But it's not just a missed throw in practice that caused this whole fiasco. This has been happening for a while.
And only time will tell exactly what is going to happen with Antonio Brown. All right, you guys, coming up, Anthony Davis has decided to not re-sign with the Pelicans. We will have more on what we think he will do coming up. Anthony Davis has chose to not re-sign with the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, you guys, it's kind of been, a thing with the NBA as far as Anthony Davis goes. Obviously, he is a top guy. Every team should kind of keep their eyes on him right now. Where is he going to end up going? Where do you guys think? I know there's a lot of talk with the Lakers right now. What's going on?
I hope he ends up in La La Land. I mean, wouldn't it just be beautiful for the NBA? Wouldn't it? I just don't want the Lakers to go all in and go over their heads and make what they feel is the quickest deal possible. Mm-hmm. I don't want to give up Lonzo Ball. I understand that I might have to, but I don't want to give him up. I'll
I
give
don't
up
think
Kyle
anybody wants to
Kuzma.
give him up.
I'll give up Kyle Kuzma. If I'm getting Anthony Davis, I don't think Kyle Kuzma's game would mesh well with LeBron and Anthony Davis. Kyle Kuzma takes a lot of shots. Sometimes he, interrupts the offense with his shot taking. If I want Anthony Davis, if I'm getting him, I'm keeping Lonzo. I'm keeping Ivica Zubac because he's been playing beautiful basketball these past 3 weeks. And everybody else is on the trade block. You can take Brandon Ingram. You can take Kyle Kuzma. You can take Josh Hart. But those two guys I want to keep because the Lakers need to make this move right now. They need to get Anthony Davis right now because Boston is a team that would look to get Anthony Davis, but they can't get him right now. Because with Kyrie Irving's contract on the books, they can't make a trade until his contract is off this upcoming summer. So Boston has the assets.
Okay, so what about New York possibly? Is that we can't, leave them off the table, and I think it would be unsafe to say, what about the Clippers too?
Well, his agent, Rich Paul, who's same agent as LeBron James, by the way, came out and said Anthony would prefer to play for a team that's contending for a championship.
Right.
If you put him in New York, they're going to give up Tim Hardaway, probably Kevin Knox, probably Frank Ntilikina, all these guys. It's going to be him and Porzingis. Is that better than Boston? Is that better than Philadelphia? Is that better than Toronto? I don't think so. If you trade him to the Clippers, he's got Doc Rivers. They overachieved early this year, but they've kind of fallen back to earth. Now, you pair him with Kawhi Leonard, that's something different. But if he goes to L.A. and he's with LeBron and you get Kawhi Leonard or you get Jimmy Butler or you get Kyrie Irving and you have a trio of those three, we talking.
So he'll finish out his season with the Pelicans.
It's looking like he will
You
finish
think?
out the season with the Pelicans. If I'm the Pelicans, I'm not, in any rush to make a move because, like I
Right.
said, Boston probably has the best pieces to give up. And if I'm New Orleans, I'm asking for Jason Tatum first. Like, Jason Tatum is on that trade, or it's not happening at all.
Michael, what do you think?
So first, addressing the Lakers talk, I think that if Lonzo's asked for it, you got to be willing to part ways with him. Look, the way that Lonzo plays and the way that LeBron plays, they don't mesh to
Why?
be effective.
Why not?
Because LeBron controls the offense. He controls the ball. Lonzo is a facilitator.
So
He doesn't create enough scoring opportunity for himself.
in LeBron's 16th, 17th, 18th year, do you think that it would be necessary for LeBron to keep playing on the ball or for a point guard, a traditional point guard, to play next to him?
If you take LeBron off the ball, you're destroying the
How?
potential of your team. You're not
How?
destroying it entirely. You're still going to be a very good player, but you are taking away what this team can be. You're cutting off a good part of the potential that it can be. And when you bring in a guy like Anthony Davis,
Oh, my
who
goodness.
meshes well with LeBron's style of play, the pick and roll with Anthony Davis and LeBron, it would be unstoppable in this league.
If you keep Lonzo on that team with LeBron and Anthony Davis, he's going to get 15 assists a night.
I actually agree with you.
He's
on
going to
this
get
one.
15 assists a night because his
I'm
skill
not saying
set.
you wouldn't be efficient with Anthony
You
Davis.
said they wouldn't mesh well together.
I'm saying they don't mesh well right now.
Oh, my
He would
goodness.
be efficient. He's good. He's a good basketball player. But you have to be willing to part with good young basketball players for a superstar like Anthony
Kuzma,
Davis.
Ingram, Josh Hart, first round pick.
So you're telling
that's
me
my offer.
So you're
That's your
telling me.
offer? That's
So
what we
you're
got?
telling me that the Celtics have to give Jason Tatum, but the
Yes.
Lakers shouldn't give Lonzo.
No. See, you're taking it out of context here.
Am I?
I said if I'm the Lakers, I don't want to give up Lonzo Ball.
No
I'm
one
not
wants
saying
to give up-
the
Okay,
Pelicans
okay.
shouldn't ask for him.
Okay, but considering all possibilities here, so it comes down to really, should the Lakers right now be focusing their energy into Anthony Davis, yes or no?
I think so because if you look at the history recently, guys that have came out and said where they wanted to go, they haven't ended up. Paul George wanted to go to LA, ended up in Oklahoma City, and is happy there. He wanted to stay there. Kawhi wanted to go to LA, ended up in Toronto. Jimmy Butler, said like the Knicks, the Nets, the Clippers, ended up in Philadelphia. Kyrie Irving, gave his list of teams, ended up in Boston. So you got to be aggressive and make this move now because people are waiting and no. You got to be aggressive. Magic Johnson, that's why they brought you in. You got LeBron. He's 34 years old. He's not 24. He needs to win now.
And like you mentioned, Anthony Davis even said that he wants to play for a team that is competitive and will compete for a championship. Do you think that he can get onto a team that will do that?
Well, I want to touch on that real quick. Sadly, in today's NBA, there's really only one team competing for the championship,
Who might
That's
that
disrespectful.
and that's Golden State Warriors.
That's
So let me ask
disrespectful.
you this.
That's disrespectful.
It won't happen. I know it won't.
Don't even.
But would you, as the Golden State Warriors, make an offer of Draymond Green
No.
and assets for Anthony
No.
Davis?
Why would you do that?
Why wouldn't you?
Because Draymond Green is the heart and soul of that team.
Heart and soul.
Their locker room is content. They're happy. Why would you mess up all that chemistry for a guy?
Are you messing it up bringing in Anthony Davis?
Yes, you are.
If you bring in Anthony Davis, you arguably have 3 top 5 players and the best player at
and
those
you're
4
adding
positions.
a guy who needs the ball in his hands, is not selfless like Draymond Green, and is
You're
willing
adding
to have
a guy that has one of the best talent
No.
skill sets in the NBA.
It's still one ball per team, right?
One ball per team,
It's
but-
still one ball per team.
One ball per team. And with that being said, the Lakers, they may make this offer coming up
They
soon.
better.
We're going to see what they end up doing. We're also going to see, what Boston ends up doing as well. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching our first episode of the 2019 season of the Eagle Eye. With me, Kennedy Miller, Michael Rockman. Thank you guys. We will see you next time.